Hello and welcome to AgilityCast. My name is Abuhajleh. I'm with CA Technologies. And today, my good friend and co-host, Rick Morris from R Square Consulting is joining me to talk about agile business in this big world of ours. Welcome, Rick.
Hey, Alf. How you doing, buddy?
So we are launching this endeavor, you and I, to try once a month, preferably the last Wednesday, at 9 o'clock Pacific time, talk about agile business, what that means for us as practitioners, what that means for us as business managers, what it means for us as consumers. And you have been involved in this transformation over the last few years as a consultant, and you yourself find this quite exciting, I noticed.
I'm very, very excited about this. I can't wait to do the show. It's going to be an awesome opportunity for us. And not only that, by announcing when we're doing it at the time, we're hoping people will join us live in the future.
Very good. And we're going to have guests and introduce books and tips and tricks and try to be of some value to you rather than two guys cackling on Google. So welcome to AgilityCast with Alf and Rick. The first thing we're going to start with today is predictions for 2018. And some of the ideas that I have noticed out there is a certain democratization of project management. Slack, Asana, and others open up the door for the average business manager like myself. He doesn't know much about anything. We can now get the product up and running. And I think with that, you see more enterprise solutions going to get into that market space, trying to offer something that is both strong enough to offer enterprise wealth, but also nimble enough so that clown like me knows what to do when we get into this, because this could be very complex if you don't know what you're doing. And I think the second part there is because people like me will have access to these tools and start to do more project management, the leadership of organizations will no longer allow this bottom-up type of planning that we've seen. It never really worked. It's a great ideology that everybody should contribute, but that's not really how we drive our enterprises. We're driven by the boards of directors, investors, and so on. And that top-down planning needs to be implemented. And that's the only way you're going to get clowns like me into the paddock and stay on the reservation. Otherwise, God knows what we cook up. Does that sound far-flung, Rick?
No, it doesn't. And I love that you use the word clown because, as a project manager for 20 years, I've noticed a lot of people put process in for the sake of process. We do documentation because we need to check a box because that's what our PMO process tells us to do. And then I started to run into these Agilists. And like a lot of project managers, I was very resistant to Agile because I was scared of it. I didn't understand it. Scared of it. And what I started to realize, though, some of the things I was hearing was being given to me by Agilist clowns. It really was. Saying things like, we can't tell you when we're going to be done because we're Agile, or we're never going to document again because we're Agile, or, things like that. And to me, people started to use Agile as an excuse for cowboy coding or just to go back to the way things were without regulation. And project managers now, we get to not have to do some of the things we really don't like. I'm telling you, there's not a lot of project managers that like to manage 1,000-line project schedules. They just don't. And so we are starting to utilize the term again, verbosity. And what that allows is we can start to plan to the bigger scale, but allow the teams to break it down. Because a lot of times the reasons why the Gantt charts grow so much is because all the teams are saying, put this task on, I need to know it. No. We're going to start planning in smaller segments and fund those. You develop whatever task you want. And so when we start to see some of the integrations of Agile and PM concepts, that's what's happening. But what I think is interesting in the market, and you were where people are scared, everybody says Agile is so easy. But it's not. It's really a complicated process to think about it. And even just to explain that, I'll share with you a screenshot here that Deloitte put together, and I love it. What we're looking at here is the Agile landscape, but these are all the different Agile methodologies right now laid on top of each other. So, one of the biggest questions I always ask an organization when they're Agile is, what type of Agile are you? And they always say, we've got our own, which means they picked a little bit of the pieces and parts here to fit their own methodology. But as you can see, even the people in the Agile world don't necessarily agree or come together on the way Agile's done. So the biggest thing that I see in a risk of an Agile implementation is picking the right Agilist and staying away from clowns like we talked about.
That's funny. That's good. That's a good observation. Now we're going to look at a segment called Rick's Corner, where Rick talk about books and apps and other fun things.
Yeah, so one of my favorite things to do is to explore. And I'll tell you, I have a morning routine now. And we've got this little app here, and we'll put a screenshot up to see it's better. But one of my favorite things to do is get myself fired up in the morning. And there's a great app out there right now that you can download called Peptalk, P-E-P Talk, Peptalk. And what this app does is it has some of the best motivational speakers out there in the world. It's got pump-up music, and it's playing little clips and snippets in a montage. And even if you don't know what you want to select every day, they have a suggestion every day. So when you just come in, you hit the button, it plays a little 5 or 6 minute clip, gets you pumped up and ready to go in the morning. People say, how come you're so excited? How do you have so much energy? And part of my secret is having a little pep talk in my morning. So it's a great app to download and just get your mindset right to hit a busy day.
I must try it. Well, our final thoughts is my terror or artificial intelligence. It's everywhere. It's part of our business. It's part of project management, and we can't get rid of it. At home, I have a friend. He has a heart monitor. The light and the temperature in his house dims and changes to moderate his heart rate. And music can be played to calm him, even, for example. At work, when you walk into a hotel, they know how many drinks you're going to order before you even checked in. And H&M, the clothing store, changed supply chain middle of season. No one else can do this, all because of artificial intelligence and predictability algorithms. But if we stop and think about it for a second, we are going to use machine learning, okay? And that's great. But no one understands how machine learns things. That's okay. We can live with that. Then there is the idea of quantum computing, which we also like, but it's so terrifying that Einstein came up with notes for it and thought that it was sort of a gimbal idea. There is no point in us not acknowledging the fact that having machine learning that we don't understand and quantum computing, which can solve problems faster than we can create them together, it's going to go bad. They make movies about this, like The Matrix. Yes, Arnold Schwarzenegger made a whole career on this. So I warn us all, before we put predictability everywhere, take a close look on what the prophet have said about artificial intelligence. And with that, that's the end of our AgilityCast today. I want to bring some attention. February 21st, my good friend Jim Tisch at CA Technologies joins Andy Jordan on a webcast about continuous improvement in project management and portfolio management. Check it out on Bright Talk. If you Google it, you'll find it. Any last word for you, Rick, my good friend?
No, and on your artificial intelligence rant there, first of all, we now have you on record for that. So you can always go back and say, hey, I said that first. And second, hopefully you don't have an Alexa because, you know, she's listening everywhere.
We have a Roomba, and I shivers every time it starts. Check out Rick Morris every Friday on his podcast, American Voice, is it?
Voice America, the Work-Life Balance, 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you can't catch us live every Friday, it's podcasted on all of your favorite devices, including if you say, hey, Alexa, play the Work-Life Balance. She'll talk to you back.
Don't say that out loud. They're listening. To all of you out there, I'll see you next month. Take care. Be safe. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.